You ever have that one moment, just one, where you suddenly realize, wait, I've been lied to my whole life? That moment? Mine came the day I opened my college acceptance letter and my mum looked away like I'd handed her a death sentence. My name is Elena Brooks, I'm 18, and for most of my life I thought I was the easy child. The one who didn't cause trouble, the one who stayed up until 2 a.m. finishing extra credit, not because I had to, but because I wanted my parents to be proud. They always said it, "You're the responsible one, Elena, the rock of the family." And I believed them. I grew up in a perfectly polished house in the suburbs, the kind with lemon-scented countertops, and a dad who grilled every Sunday. From the outside, we looked like the picture-perfect American family, but what people didn't see was how my older brother Dylan, Mr. Golden Boy, kept crashing and burning through every opportunity life handed him, and somehow always landed cushioned. He dropped out of college after a year, got fired from 2 jobs, dated girls who posted more about astrology than accountability. But my parents? Oh, they adored him. "Dylan's just finding his path," my mum would say, even as he borrowed money that never got paid back. Me? I didn't complain. I thought, maybe love just looks different for each kid. Maybe I don't need the fireworks to feel chosen. What mattered to me was getting into Berkeley. That was the goal since middle school. I'd been dreaming about that campus for years, the tree-lined walks, the old libraries, the feeling of earning my spot in something that wasn't handed to me. And when I finally got that acceptance letter in the mail, I thought, this is it, I did it, we did it. I say we because my parents had always promised that Grandpa's college fund was there. Safe and sound, they said. Your future is secured, sweetheart. So I waited until dinner to show them the letter, printed and sealed, right on our kitchen table. And that's when something changed. My mum blinked. My dad just sighed. A long, heavy sigh, like I'd just asked them for a yacht. And in that moment, before they even said the words, I felt it. That creeping, nauseating sense that maybe everything I'd trusted was about to fall apart. But I didn't know how deep the betrayal went yet, not then. I didn't know this would be the beginning of one of those revenge stories people binge on TikTok or Reddit at 2 a.m. I was still the girl who believed my family would catch me if I fell. And I was about to find out just how far they'd let me drop. I handed them the letter like it was gold, because to me it was. That Berkeley acceptance, it was years of missed parties, summer classes, tutoring kids for extra credit. It was proof that being the quiet one could still get you somewhere. My dad barely glanced at it. My mom held the paper like it might burn her fingers. Then came that sigh. Elena, there's something we need to tell you. I laughed a little, trying to play it off. What, you forgot to frame my acceptance? Don't worry, I'll do it myself. Silence. My dad ran a hand through his hair, suddenly interested in a spot on the table. The fund. It's gone. At first, I didn't understand. What do you mean, gone? We lost it, sweetheart. Market crash, bad investments. We didn't want to tell you during finals. We knew you'd panic. My mum reached over like she wanted to comfort me, but I leaned back. Something in her eyes didn't match the tone of her voice. It was rehearsed, like this scene had played out in front of a mirror one too many times. I asked how much was left. They said nothing. I asked when it happened. They said months ago. And then I asked the one question they didn't seem ready for. Why didn't you tell me? They paused, long enough to answer without saying a word. My mum finally said, we thought we'd figure something out. Maybe community college for a year, maybe online classes. The thing is, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just sat there, trying to breathe past the lump in my throat. Has anyone ever looked you in the eye and told you your future just evaporated, like it was a thing that could be misplaced? Because that was me, sitting at a kitchen table, wondering how two people could raise me for 18 years and still not think I deserved the truth. Honestly, I want to know, if this happened to you, would you have walked away right then, or would you have still tried to hold your family together? I didn't even know what I was supposed to feel. Anger, grief, shame. All I knew was everything I'd planned, every application, every essay, every SAT cram night, meant nothing now. That night, I went to bed fully dressed, lying stiff on top of the sheets, just staring at the ceiling. I didn't cry until the house went quiet. Then I broke, silently, the way girls like me are trained to do. And still, some part of me thought, they'll fix this. They have to. I had no idea this was only the beginning. It's strange how grief works. One day you're crying in the dark, and the next, you're just numb, like your body decided it can't afford emotions anymore. That's where I was. I stopped asking my parents about college. I didn't want more lies. Instead, I threw myself into survival mode. I emailed scholarship boards, started reselling clothes online, picked up extra shifts at the bookstore where I worked weekends. But something still didn't sit right. If we were so broke, why was my mum still getting her nails done every Friday? Why was Dad still golfing with his old business buddies every Sunday, like nothing had changed? And then there was Dylan, my brother, the same guy who barely lasted a year in college and once asked me if economics was the one with triangles or the one with history. Suddenly, he was starting something big. Startup talk, entrepreneur energy, a website in progress. I overheard him on the phone one night saying things like investor deck and launch party. That's when the crack became a crater. One night, 3 weeks after the dinner, I came downstairs for water. It was around 1 a.m. The lights were off, but I heard voices drifting in from the backyard. I froze at the sliding glass door. Dad, Mum, Dylan, sitting around the fire pit like some Hallmark family moment, and they were laughing. I don't know what hit harder, the sound of their laughter or the words that followed. My mum took a sip of wine and said, "That app better work, Dylan. Draining Elena's fund for this? Worth it if you don't blow it." Then Dad chimed in, "She'll land on her feet. That girl always does. You, son, you needed this. We couldn't let you fall behind." My heart didn't drop. It didn't sink. It shattered, quietly. They hadn't lost the fund. They stole it, took what was mine and handed it over with a smile to the child they loved more loudly. All while I sold old sweaters on Facebook Marketplace to buy textbooks. I stood behind that curtain, fists clenched, chest hollow, not crying, just breaking. They saw me as a fallback plan, a dependable resource, a walking ATM with straight A's and no real needs. That night, something inside me shifted, not rage, not revenge, just clarity. I wasn't their daughter. I was an investment they cashed out. And I decided, no more asking, no more begging, no more believing. I had something they didn't know about, and I wasn't going to waste it trying to earn love that was never meant for me. The next morning, I didn't speak to anyone. Not because I was angry, though I was, but because I didn't trust what I'd say if I opened my mouth. There was this calm inside me, the dangerous kind, the kind that only comes after the last thread snaps and all the noise in your head just stops. I knew I couldn't fix what they did, but I could make sure they never touched what was left. So I opened my laptop, logged into the custodial investment account Grandpa had told me about during one of our weekend chess games, and moved every last dollar into a high-yield savings account at a bank they'd never think to check. I added a verbal passcode. Then I set alerts. If anyone so much as looked at that account sideways, I'd know. What they didn't realize was I wasn't broke. They just didn't have access anymore. I also did something I never thought I'd do. I requested a full audit of the original college fund. Turns out the account was technically co-owned by my parents because I was a minor when it was opened, but now I was 18, legal. And I had the right to freeze the account, to see every transaction, to stop them from using it as their personal piggy bank. Within 72 hours, their access was cut off. I didn't say a word. I just waited. 3 days later, my dad barged into my room waving papers. His voice was sharp, but there was fear underneath. "What did you do, Elena? Are you out of your mind?" I looked up from my laptop, calm as ever. "I moved my money. The one Grandpa gave me. The one you didn't know about." He blinked. "You little—" "Try me," I said. "Touch anything with my name on it again, and I'll send everything to the bank. And to Grandpa." He didn't yell after that, just stood there, red-faced, breathing heavy, and then left. But I wasn't done. Dylan had been bragging online for weeks. Instagram stories, LinkedIn posts, even some article on Medium about risk, legacy, and family sacrifice. My mum was commenting on all of it like he'd discovered electricity. I took screenshots of everything, the captions, the photos, the comments. Then I emailed them to Grandpa. Subject line, "Thought you should see where your hard-earned money went." He didn't respond right away. But when he did, it was short. "Thank you for telling me. I'll take it from here." And that was it. No fireworks, no screaming match, just chess pieces quietly shifting on a board they thought I never learned how to play. What they didn't realize was I'd been studying every move for years. Grandpa didn't yell. Grandpa didn't yell. He didn't even call me right away. But when he did, his voice was colder than I'd ever heard it. Not angry, strategic. He said he'd just left his lawyer's office. My parents had tried to claim hardship damages, saying I cut them off from assets they were entitled to as co-guardians of the fund. But Grandpa wasn't just mad. He was surgical. He had already frozen all remaining shared accounts and opened a formal investigation into how the college fund had been accessed. The thing is, once investigators got involved, it didn't stay clean for long. They found emails between my parents and Dylan detailing how they knowingly redirected the money into his business. They even called it a calculated risk for the future of the family. That word, calculated, made me sick. But then came the part I wasn't ready for. As they pulled old records, a name popped up, Claire Brooks, my cousin, 22. Sweet, awkward, once dreamed of med school. She dropped out 2 years ago. Family gossip said she wasn't cut out for it. I believed it, until I saw the transaction. A college fund under her name, closed, emptied, transferred to the same account my parents used to boost Dylan's startup. My hands went cold. I called Claire that night. Her voice cracked halfway through hello. She told me she never understood what happened. One day her parents told her she didn't get enough aid, and that was it. She quit, got a retail job, never looked back. When I told her what I'd found, she went silent. For a long, long time. Then she said, "So it wasn't just me." I thought, maybe I just wasn't worth the cost. And that broke me more than anything else. Because in that moment I realized this wasn't a one-time betrayal. This was a pattern. a system, a quiet decision to throw away the daughters they thought could handle it, to protect the son they believed deserved more, and I wasn't about to let them get away with it again. Move-in day at Berkeley came faster than I expected. I packed my bags, folded my life into boxes, and didn't invite my parents. They showed up anyway. My mum wore a flowy dress like she was headed to brunch. My dad had this forced grin and some speech in his pocket about how proud they were. I cut them off before they reached the front steps. "You don't get to be part of this," I said. "You gave my future away and laughed about it. You lied. You watched me cry and said nothing." My mum's eyes welled up. My dad tried to speak, but I turned to Dylan, who stood awkwardly behind them. "I hope your dog food app crashes and burns." Then I got in the car with my best friend behind the wheel and didn't look back. That semester I built everything from scratch. New friends, a part-time internship at a publishing house, a routine that didn't revolve around anyone's approval but my own. Weeks later, I visited Grandpa over Thanksgiving. His home was quiet, warm. He didn't ask about my parents, and I didn't bring them up. Instead, he handed me a folder, trust documents, finalized estate papers, and a letter. Inside it, in his unmistakable handwriting, were 7 words that made everything inside me crack open. "You always had the strength. I saw it." I cried, not because I needed his money, but because someone had finally seen me, not as a backup plan, not as the dependable one, but as someone worth choosing first. Since then, I've cut contact. Dylan moved back in with my parents. The IRS got involved. The startup tanked. My mum shut down her blog after getting dragged online. My dad's job is under review. And me, I'm still standing. Stronger, quieter, whole. If you've ever been the one who kept it all together, who got overlooked because you were too strong to need help, I hope you know this. Being the strong one doesn't mean you should be the sacrificed one. Have you ever had to walk away from people who were supposed to protect you? Tell me in the comments, not for them to see, but for someone like us who needs to know they're not alone.